Stop. Whatever you are doing, stop. I speak not to your reasoning mind, nor to your fear, nor to the part of you that still believes wealth is earned through toil and tears. I speak to your soul, which has known all along. You were never meant to struggle for money. You were meant to speak to it. Money is not your master. It is not your opponent. It is not a finish line at the end of suffering. It is your obedient servant, awaiting your command. When the tongue aligns with truth, money obeys, not slowly, not someday, not after worthiness has been proven, but instantly, joyfully, and without resistance. One sentence, spoken in spiritual authority, turns lack into overflow. One sentence, when drenched in divine recognition, bends the seen and the unseen. I say it now with power. Money is not my master. It is my obedient servant. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law, divine law, irrefutable, eternal, perfect. And it is ready to work for you. The law I speak of is older than your doubt, older than your bank account, older than fear itself. It is the law of the spoken word, coupled with the law of instant manifestation. The moment the decree is pure, the moment the tone carries faith instead of fear, heaven responds, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." That is not suggestion, it is legal authority in the court of spirit. When a king speaks, the word becomes law. When a beggar speaks, the wind ignores him. Which voice do you wear when you speak of money? Do you murmur like a victim or decree like a victor? Money does not respond to hope. It responds to command. You may have tried visualizing, affirming, hoping, praying. But if your voice wavers, if your tone trembles, if your word is dipped in doubt, then all your declarations collapse like paper against steel. You must speak not to the problem, but into the atmosphere, as if the problem never existed. That is the great secret. You do not move money by describing your lack. You move it by announcing your rank. Imagine a well-trained animal. It does not move because you need it to. It moves because you issued a clear, confident, consistent command. It hears tone, it hears posture, it hears certainty. So does money. If you say, "Please come," money will hesitate. If you say, "I don't know how," money will reflect your confusion. But when you say, "I command it now," with the conviction of heaven behind you, all of creation hears and obeys. Say it with me again. Money is not my master, it is my obedient servant. Let the old theology collapse. Let the gospel of effort die. Let the law of divine alignment rise in you now. Now we speak the sentence, not as a chant, not as a wish, not as an experiment, but as a verdict, as a spiritual ruling passed down from the throne of dominion. The sentence is this: money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Let no one rush past these words. Let no seeker dare dilute their power. These are not poetic flourishes to entertain the mind. They are holy instructions for commanding matter through spirit. For wealth is not a number, but a vibration. It is not paper, but presence. It is not earned, but declared. The tongue is the key, and this sentence turns the lock. Let me show you why this sentence works. First, it names money rightly, not as a human master, not as a wicked temptation, not as an idol to fear, but as what it truly is: divine substance. It is not from banks. It is not from bosses. It is not from clients or contracts or economic conditions. It is divine. It is spiritual. It is born from the invisible realm of law, shaped by voice, and formed through the mold of consciousness. Until you call it divine, you will always fear it. Until you call it obedient, you will always chase it. Second, this sentence removes personification. You do not ask money how it feels. You do not wonder if it will cooperate. You do not shrink before its silence. You command it. You speak to it as a master speaks to a tool. You do not romanticize a hammer. You lift it and strike. So it is with money. You do not worship it. You direct it. And third, this sentence asserts spiritual control. not through emotion, not through desperation, not through strained begging, but through clear, calm, unshakable authority. This is not theater. This is alignment. This is the tone of the soul that remembers who it is. You are not a hopeful borrower in a long line at the gate of provision. You are the gate. You are the word that opens it. You are the voice that names the amount, declares the timing, and commands its obedience. So now we practice, not just once, but with rhythm, with breath, with the stillness of law behind every word. Breathe in fully. Let the breath reach down to your belly. For shallow breath is the signature of fear, but deep breath is the foundation of certainty. Now, on your next exhale, speak with me slowly and without apology. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Again. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. And once more, with every cell in agreement, with your inner court silent before your decree. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. This is not performance. This is law. This is not magic. This is dominion. Speak it daily. Speak it before looking at numbers. Speak it before signing contracts. Speak it before checking balances. Speak it until the world bends. Speak it until matter moves. Speak it until the room feels different and your atmosphere shifts from survival to surplus. Speak it not as a suggestion, but as the sentence that shifts all reality. Let us now destroy the idol of hustle, the illusion of strain, the grinding myth that has worn saints down to their bones and taught the spiritually royal to live like beggars. For too long, humanity has labored under the lie that money is made by sweat. That value must bleed out of the brow. That abundance is earned only through sacrifice and exhaustion and the brutal badge of effort. But I tell you now, this is not divine law. It is human programming. This is not spiritual truth. It is carnal hypnosis. And you must decide today whether you will serve hustle or serve harmony, whether you will cling to the sweat-soaked creed of the world or enter the peaceful current of the kingdom where money comes by decree, not by distress, where wealth flows by vibration, not calculation, where spiritual substance answers voice, not effort, not education, not experience, not endless striving. We begin by replacing the language of bondage with the language of alignment. No longer shall you say, I have to hustle, for the word hustle implies that wealth is elusive, that supply is suspicious, that money is hiding and must be chased down with brute force and anxious cunning. But money is not hiding, it is listening. Money is not a fugitive, it is a soldier awaiting instruction. So we say instead, I have to harmonize. I align with the current of divine flow. I get in rhythm with the law that governs increase. I move with the melody of spiritual abundance, and I let it carry me. When I speak in tune with truth, supply comes not with a fight, but with ease. No longer shall you say, I earn it. This phrase must be torn from your vocabulary like a weed from a garden. It is the chant of the spiritually amnesiac, the mantra of those who have forgotten that all things are given freely to the one who remembers their inheritance. Replace it immediately with, I align with it. Money is not earned, it is permitted. It is not achieved, it is received. And it cannot find you if your speech betrays a consciousness of toil. You do not earn sunlight. You open the curtain. You do not earn gravity. You surrender to its pull. So it is with divine supply. You do not earn it by labor, you receive it by law. And now I cancel every whisper, every inner echo, every generational sermon that said, money is hard. It is not. Money is obedient. Money is responsive. Money is malleable in the hands of the one who speaks with authority. Declare it with me now. Money is obedient. I am the voice it obeys. Say it again, until your nervous system believes it, until your ancestors shout in your bloodstream, until every neural groove that worshipped hard labor is overwritten by grace. Money is obedient. I am the voice it obeys. Visualize it now. Truly see it with your inner eye. A contract written in the old tongue of effort, written in sweat and fear and exhaustion, written by your parents, your teachers, your childhood, signed in silence by your younger self. And now, in your imagination, I hand you the pen. I hand you the fire. Tear it, burn it, dissolve it in the presence of spiritual truth. Watch the ash of that false agreement drift away as you speak the new covenant. I now sign my name to ease. I now enter contract with overflow. I now decree that wealth comes not through suffering, but through spiritual symmetry. You are not a workhorse. You are a commander. You are not a laborer in the field of striving. You are a mouthpiece of divine multiplication. Let the labor illusion fall. Let the hustle god die. Let your hands rest and your word rise. The great error of man is not in his desire for wealth, but in his position toward it. He speaks as the seeker. He speaks as the outsider. He speaks as one knocking at a door he does not believe he has the right to enter. And so his voice is faint. His words are riddled with permission-seeking tones. His declarations end in question marks. And the substance of wealth, waiting like a soldier to be instructed, hears no clear command and thus remains still, unmoved, unassigned. But I say to you, rise now in consciousness, for you were never meant to speak as the one who is hoping. You were born to speak as the one who is hosting divine supply. You are not a beggar before the gates of wealth. You are the gate. You are the voice. You are the mouth through which heaven invades the material. You are the sender, not the seeker. You are the decree, not the doubt. And so I give you the command. Speak not from hunger. Speak from heaven. Speak not as the mouth of your bank balance, but as the oracle of divine law. Say with me now, I no longer ask. I authorize, let that sentence rise in you until it changes your posture, until your shoulders lift, until your breath slows with certainty, until the words stop trembling out of your mouth like requests and begin roaring out of your soul like rulings. For your silence is not humility, it is delay. Your timidity is not holiness, it is disobedience to divine law. You were made in the image of a God who speaks galaxies into form. You were made in the image of a Christ who said to the storm, "Peace, be still," and the wind obeyed. And if you are made in that image, your voice must now reflect that same divine certainty. I challenge you now, not tomorrow, not after the next paycheck, not when the anxiety subsides, but now, to stop echoing the contents of your bank account and start echoing the contents of the kingdom. Stop quoting your expenses and start quoting your inheritance. Stop reporting the lack and start reporting the law. Stop praying as one who is trying to be chosen and start decreeing as one who has already been crowned. The only difference between the one who stays broke and the one who multiplies wealth is not talent, not timing, not intelligence, but tone, authority, voice. One speaks as the applicant, the other speaks as the appointer. And the substance of money does not move for applicants. It moves for appointers. Money does not respond to supplication. It responds to summoning. Money does not rise for requests. It rises for rulings. Say this with me now, not from theory, not from curiosity, but from truth that you feel even now rising in your spine. I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. Say it again. I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. And say it again until your voice deepens, until the false humility shatters, until the consciousness of wealth takes up residence in your tone. I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. You are not here to chase money. You are here to channel it. You are not here to beg for overflow. You are here to authorize its release. And every time you speak from source, the entire structure of the unseen bends to bring into form what your voice has permitted. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. This is not delusion, it is dominion. And the world will tell you to be realistic, but I tell you, speak from revelation, for revelation is the only realism recognized in the kingdom. Stand up, Lift your head. Command with clean tones. Speak from within the treasury of divine abundance. For you are not outside the gate. You are the one heaven has appointed to unlock it with your voice. Now speak these words with me, not as if repeating a mantra, hoping to convince yourself, but as one who recognizes that the moment your tongue moves in rhythm with divine truth, the invisible forces of wealth, increase, and supernatural order rearrange themselves to obey, because divine law is not slow, nor is it forgetful, nor is it hypothetical. It is immediate, living spiritual fire, and your voice is the match that lights the altar of manifestation. Let your breath steady, let your spirit stand upright, and say these with full voltage, full faith, and full finality. Money recognizes my voice. It does not hesitate when I speak. It does not delay when I declare. It hears the frequency of faith woven into the fabric of my words, and it moves because I move. It comes because I call. It answers because I have ceased to whisper and begun to roar. Money recognizes my voice because my voice is backed by law, and law is never ignored. Money is not confused about its instructions. It does not wait to be earned. It waits to be spoken to. And I am speaking now. I speak as the one heaven trusts to govern gold. I command increase, and it obeys. I do not suggest it. I do not beg for it. I do not hope that it finds me someday, somehow, by accident or by the pity of fate. No, I command it, as the rightful heir of all things divine, as the legally authorized mouthpiece of abundance, as the voice who carries the echo of Eden's original design. I command increase, and because I have removed every fearful tone from my mouth, because I have stopped asking the wind and started ordering the waves, it obeys. Not tomorrow, not eventually, but now. It obeys now. I am not chasing, I am choosing. I no longer run behind opportunity, panting with desperation and shame. I sit in the seat of dominion, and I choose what belongs to me. I choose what aligns with spiritual law. I choose overflow, not because I need it, but because I am the one appointed to distribute it with clean hands and a commanding voice. I am not a spiritual orphan seeking scraps. I am the beloved steward whose voice reshapes the treasury. My word governs my wealth, not the economy, not the algorithm, not the stock market or the salary range or the predictions of financial analysts or the fears of my past. My word governs my wealth. It builds the structure, it assigns the flow, it calls the numbers, it opens the vaults, it writes the checks, it multiplies what exists and manifests what has not yet been seen. My word governs my wealth because my word is in alignment with divine law, and divine law never returns void. Now speak these affirmations again, slowly, truthfully, and with the boldness of one who knows. You are not repeating words, you are shifting reality. Now stop. Breathe. Let your soul catch up to the sound you just released. Because this is no longer a theory you're entertaining or a curiosity you're testing. This is now a spiritual engagement, a divine transaction, an invisible covenant being forged between your word and your world, between what you declare and what dares to appear, between your mouth and the miracle it has just magnetized. This is not just a video, and this is not just a teaching. This is an altar of agreement, and your voice is the offering placed upon it, burning with sacred fire, sending up smoke signals to the unseen realms that one of God's own has remembered her power, remembered his law, remembered the ancient truth, that your wealth is not out there waiting, it is in here, sleeping, until your voice awakens it. So I ask you now, not as a passive viewer, but as a participant in divine dominion. Have you ever dared to speak to money like a master, not a servant? Have you ever opened your mouth with no apology, no doubt, no hesitation, and declared out loud with all authority that you are not waiting for wealth to like you, to approve you, to slowly make its way into your account, but that you are the one who commands it, who hosts it, who assigns it, and who multiplies it by decree? Have you ever treated your voice like the vault it truly is? like the ignition key to the treasury of spirit? If so, then this moment is your public declaration. Write it below. Declare it in the comments like you mean it. Say, I just gave money a command. Not a wish, not a weak hope, a command. And if this lit something in you, if the fire has started to crackle in the corner of your soul, then subscribe and return here daily. Because this is not a one-time activation. This is vocal dominion training. This is how you become unshakable, undeniable, and unfailingly funded by the voice of truth. Everything in the universe operates by law, unseen, unstoppable, unfailing law. And the law I now bring before your soul is the law of divine agreement, the metaphysical principle that nothing comes into being, nothing manifests, nothing becomes visible until it has been agreed upon in the invisible realm, until two forces, your word and divine truth, come together and say the same thing, until heaven and earth shake hands through the bridge of your voice, until the truth that is always waiting finds a voice bold enough to give it permission to become flesh. It is written, if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything they shall ask, it shall be done for them. Matthew 18:19. And while many believe this refers to two people agreeing in prayer, I tell you now, with the full weight of spiritual law, that the most potent agreement is not between two bodies, but between your external voice and your internal belief, between what you speak aloud and what your subconscious silently echoes. Your word must not only be declared, but echoed in the silent chambers of your inner temple. You must not just speak prosperity from your lips. You must remove every whisper of contradiction from the basement of your soul. You must become the second witness to your own decree. The law of divine agreement demands that your inner and outer world say the same thing. Your conscious command and your subconscious expectation must marry in truth, or the seed will not sprout, the vault will not open, the flow will not begin. Your doubt is not neutral, it is spiritual interference. Your hesitation is not harmless, it is a silent veto. And your fear is not passive, it is an unauthorized cosigner on the check of your life. So I ask you now, not with sentiment, but with sacred urgency, what have you been agreeing with in silence? Have you allowed the voice of fear to sit beside your affirmations and nod along? Have you declared increase aloud while secretly expecting delay? Have you said, I receive with your mouth, but said, it won't happen with your hidden mental script? You cannot serve two voices. You cannot water the seeds of overflow while rehearsing the weather forecast of famine in your mind. The soil will spit out contradiction. The spirit will not honor confusion. The law does not bend to double-minded declarations. You must agree within and without, above and below, morning and night. So this is the charge. Align your entire being to the truth you are speaking. Let no cell in your body disagree. Let no part of you remain loyal to lack. If you speak, then let your spine agree. Let your breath agree. Let your bank agree. Let your schedule agree. Let your gaze and your posture and your expectation agree. And when that alignment is reached, when the tuning fork of your spirit resonates without static, then heaven rushes to confirm, money rushes to appear, substance begins to gather, and what was spoken begins to shape itself around you in visible, tangible, irreversible supply. Now listen closely, for this is the pivot point where most fall back into the trap of visible facts, where they rehearse the numbers they see instead of releasing the numbers they are called to create, where they describe lack with great precision, but forget they were never assigned to report the appearance. They were anointed to rewire it with their word, to override it with their decree, to address the number not as a fixed reality, but as a servant of their vibration, a blank figure awaiting instruction from a master consciousness, a shapeless mist waiting to be commanded into form. If you have $7 in your account and you say with trembling voice, I only have $7, you have just cast your vote for stagnation. You have stamped that amount with permanence. You have anointed it with power it never possessed. Because you did not speak to it, you spoke about it, and there is no spiritual authority in commentary, only in command. You must stop narrating the balance and start addressing it like a territory waiting to be filled. You must say, "This account now receives divine increase. This number now multiplies under grace. This figure expands to match my spiritual inheritance." Do not say, "I hope it grows." Say, "I decree expansion now." Say, "Divine substance, fill this space." Say, "I assign wealth to this account." Say, "Money, obey my voice and pour into this balance in perfect order, divine surplus, and visible confirmation." If you speak about the number, you give it the power to reflect the past. But when you speak to the number, you authorize it to mirror your next reality. Let me tell you the truth that changed everything for a woman I once knew. She came to me with tears in her voice, panic in her breath, and a story that began with, "I've only got 14 cents. That was the number in her account. 14 cents, and a wall of bills, and a mountain of fear. But I did not comfort her in that number. I did not teach her how to stretch it. I taught her to speak to it. I said, "You will bless that account. You will thank divine substance for its presence. You will not curse it. You will not describe it. You will command it." And she did. Every morning and every night she said, "This 14 cents now multiplies under the law of spiritual substance. My account is filled with divine surplus. I do not count coins, I count on God." And on the third day, a check arrived, unexpected, unsolicited, a divine surprise, and her 14 became 4,000, and her voice became a vault, and her fear became praise. So I ask you now, will you be the next one to stop describing and start decreeing? Will you open your banking app not with dread, but with dominion? Will you look at the number on the screen and remember that it is not the truth? It is the echo of past belief? Will you speak to it like a sculptor speaks to stone, not by explaining what it is, but by commanding what it shall become? Will you say, "This number is now flooded with divine deposits. This balance now reflects heaven's math. This figure now bends to the law of my voice. I do not echo the number, I rewrite it." Money is not loyal to the past, it is loyal to your present decree. Speak not about what you see, speak to it as one who owns the vaults of heaven. For your mouth is the manager of your money, and your word is the architect of your increase. And every number you see is just a servant waiting for orders, so give them. There is a secret root that hides beneath so many mouths that speak of money, a hidden vine of fear that twists around the tongue and chokes the decree before it can take form, a fear not of lack, but of increase, not of being broke, but of being blessed beyond measure, not of having too little, but of handling too much. And that fear is subtle, cloaked in spiritual-sounding language, disguised as humility, wrapped in generational guilt, and inherited from voices who told you somewhere along the way that wealth was dangerous, too loud, too prideful, too much to carry without slipping, that money would corrupt your soul or stain your innocence or turn your heart away from God. And because of these silent imprints, you declared abundance with your mouth while fearing it with your nervous system. You wrote affirmations with your hand while bracing for judgment in your chest. You visualized overflow, but flinched at the image of yourself actually holding it. But hear me now, and hear me deeply. Spirit never withholds increase from you. Your own hidden fear does, and that fear is not holy, not virtuous, not protective. It is deception in disguise. It is sabotage dressed as caution. It is the inner saboteur posing as your conscience, whispering things like, "What if I can't manage it? What if people resent me? What if I lose myself in the process?" But let us now speak fire to those lies. Let us cancel them with the breath of truth. For you are not a fraud in overflow. You are a steward of divine inheritance. You are not unworthy of more. You are assigned to receive, multiply, and circulate good in the world. You are not too fragile for financial elevation. You are the exact vessel heaven crafted to carry surplus with spiritual strength and holy responsibility. Now say this with me, in rhythm and in revelation. I erase the inner fear of wealth. I cancel the agreement with not enough. I remove the shame that once wrapped itself around money. I am safe with abundance. I am trusted with overflow. I am called to carry riches with clarity, humility, and divine power. Speak it again. Speak it until the knots untie. Speak it until your nervous system stops flinching. Speak it until the body of your past finally bows to the authority of your voice. Now close your eyes for a moment and see it with me. You, standing before an enormous vault door, not locked, not guarded, but open, wide, silent, waiting. Waiting for you not to knock, but to step forward, not to ask permission, but to walk in. You see stacks of divine provision, contracts, checks, houses, investments, opportunities, and instead of shrinking, you feel calm, grounded, tall. You do not run, you do not stutter, you do not hide, you speak. You say, I receive this, I was made for this. I do not panic in the presence of blessing, I preside over it. I do not tremble before treasure, I govern it. This is my birthright, and I no longer apologize for wearing it. Let that image become your new default. Let that feeling of peace in the presence of wealth become your new nervous system signature. Let that calm, clear, centered posture become your spiritual muscle memory. Because you must know this: you were never meant to be overwhelmed by overflow. You were meant to be anchored in it. You were never meant to fear large amounts. You were designed to assign them. You were never meant to whisper around wealth. You were born to speak it into proper place. And so the fear must go. The guilt must dissolve. The shame must be washed clean in the river of truth. You are not a beggar who stumbled into blessing. You are a divine authority who finally remembered your inheritance. Now stand tall, breathe deep, and say aloud, Spirit trusts me with large amounts. Heaven has no fear about my wealth, so I have none either. I no longer fear the more, I manage it. I no longer fear the millions, I multiply them. I no longer fear the harvest, I gather it. In me, money finds its right place, and in me, abundance is safe. There comes a moment where the soul must graduate from asking into commanding, from hoping into declaring, from tiptoeing around divine provision into speaking directly to it with the voice of one who has authority, not borrowed, not begged for, not inherited from another human voice, but granted by spiritual law itself. Because money, my dear, does not obey need, it obeys voice. It does not move for desperation, it moves for declaration. And it does not rearrange itself for silence. It responds to the command of the one who finally remembered their role as spiritual initiator, not material victim. This is the moment where you stop calling yourself unlucky, where you stop apologizing for wanting more, where you stop rehearsing the story of "it's not coming yet," and instead, you stand tall in your God-given dominion and you command the inflow, not as one who is entitled, but as one who is empowered by divine covenant. You must begin to speak to your inflow as you would to a room of employees who have fallen asleep on the job, not with rage, but with authority, not with fear, but with finality, not with doubt, but with a voice so clear it parts the atmosphere. You must say, I give money no option but to arrive. You must say, all channels are now open to me. Every divine appointment, every unseen avenue, every overdue opportunity, every delayed contract, awaken now and obey my word. You must begin to treat your spoken decree as an issuing of spiritual payroll, because heaven does not respond to your emotional frustration, it responds to your vibrational instruction. Speak now, not as one waiting for permission, not as one hoping for scraps, but as one who has stood before the throne of truth and heard these words. Ask, and it is given. Speak, and it shall be done. Decree a thing, and it shall be established. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law. This is how the unseen is moved into the seen. This is how spiritual energy becomes visible form. This is how divine substance turns into money in your account. But it will not come because you cried. It will not come because you feared. It will not come because you explained your need again and again. It will come because you finally understood the command structure of the kingdom, because you spoke not as a passive recipient, but as a priest of provision, as a general of goodness, as a steward of overflow who does not stutter when ordering what heaven already assigned them. So I ask you now, and I do not ask softly, will you speak as if overflow is owed to you by divine inheritance? Or will you keep speaking like one applying for a miracle instead of activating it? Will you speak with the confidence of covenant? Or will you continue hoping your tone will someday sound right to God? Will you use your mouth as an open wound or a spiritual invoice? Because let me tell you, one carries pain, the other carries payment. One keeps you rehearsing lack, the other builds you a ledger of increase, and one delays what was already yours, while the other commands it into your hand now. Say it with me, and do not whisper. Money, I command you now. Flow to me in divine order. Arrive in full supply. Manifest by spiritual law. I give you no option but obedience. I remove all resistance. I speak, and you obey. I decree, and you respond. My word is your master key. Again, I give money no option but to arrive. I no longer stutter. I no longer apologize. I no longer fear. I speak with the fire of divine authority, and the gates of wealth must open under my voice. Now breathe, feel the shift in the air, feel the atmosphere around you tremble with attention, because your decree just entered the archives of spiritual instruction, and heaven is not confused by it. It is commanded by it. You didn't just speak poetry, you issued payroll. You didn't just hope aloud, you exercised law. You didn't just play with sound, you pulled levers in the unseen. And now, the inflow has no choice but to answer. Let the affirmations now rise, not from your lips alone, but from your belly, from the throne room of your inner temple, from that sacred dimension within where no fear can breathe, where no past failure can echo, where no false authority holds rank, where only truth reigns and only law governs, and where your voice is not a passive instrument of feeling, but an activated rod of command. Because when I say affirm these words, I do not mean whisper them as a ritual. I mean thunder them through every cell of your being until your bones believe, until your breath adjusts to wealth frequency, until your bank account becomes irrelevant because you already moved in spiritual credit. Say it now. I give money divine instruction, not casual suggestion, not polite request, instruction, divine instruction, backed by the authority of spirit, sent out like a decree sealed with fire and holiness, landing not in fantasy but in invisible law, where it immediately begins to rearrange the energetic landscape of your reality. This is not fiction. This is how form bends to faith, how vibration becomes visible. Say, I magnetize wealth by my decree, not through strategy, not through struggle, not through some new tactic that manipulates the outer world, but through the decree that vibrates from divine alignment, because wealth is not pulled through fear, it is magnetized through spiritual certainty, and your word is the magnet, your tone is the force field, your repetition is the current that calls supply from silence into substance. Now say, the unseen rearranges itself at my command. And do not speak it as though you are guessing. Speak it as one who has stood at the edge of lack and shouted abundance into the void and watched it obey. Speak it as one who has stared down delay and refused to blink. Speak it as one who does not wait for the world to change, but whose word changes the world. And now, say this final phrase slowly, with fire and finality. My tongue is the lever that opens all vaults. Not some vaults, not once in a while. All vaults, all gates, all doors, all financial pathways, all client contracts, all investments, all divine assignments marked with your name. Your tongue opens them because your tongue is not flesh and blood. It is spiritual weapon. It is legal key. It is architect's tool. It is divine hammer. Your tongue opens what others think is locked because you were never meant to beg at the gates of provision. You were always meant to command them. Do you feel it? The rhythm? The current? The heat in your spine and the clearing in your chest? That is not emotion. That is evidence. The shift is real. The rearrangement has begun. The vault has heard your voice. Now that the decree has been spoken, now that the tongue has been loosed in truth, now that the atmosphere has been pierced with the frequency of divine wealth, I ask you, will you now return to silence, or will you take your rightful place as one who speaks daily, one who trains the world to obey spiritual rhythm, one who does not beg the heavens but aligns with them? Because this is not entertainment for the ear, it is warfare for the voice. And if you leave here today with stirred emotion but a closed mouth, then you have done nothing but rehearse the pain of lack. But if you take what you've just spoken and repeat it tomorrow, and again the day after, and again when the voice of doubt returns, and again when the numbers in your account mock your faith, then you will prove the truth, that wealth does not belong to those who wait, but to those who instruct. That money does not cling to those who complain, but to those who command. And that divine substance responds not to need, not to logic, not to education or hustle, but to voice, consistent, holy, rhythmic voice. So I ask you now, not gently, but with fire, will you speak daily or keep waiting silently? Will you train your atmosphere to obey, or will you once again let it train you to shrink? Will you be the author of increase or the victim of delay? If this voice you now carry is sacred, and it is, then let the sacred be used, daily, unflinchingly, without apology, until the ground beneath you is no longer made of effort, but of answered decree. Until money moves before you finish your sentence. Until wealth appears because your mouth has made the atmosphere ready. Comment below. Money, I now instruct you. Not tomorrow. Not when I feel better. Not when I understand more. Now speak it, and in speaking, shift. Declare it, and in declaring, rise. Let heaven record it, and let earth obey it. There is a law, not hidden but ignored, not new but eternally present, not invented by man, but built into the fabric of divine reality itself. And that law is this: what you speak already exists, and your voice does not create the supply, it reveals it. It pulls back the veil. It does not summon what is not there. It opens the curtain on what has always been prepared. This is the law of instant supply. And the world will try to tell you time and again that you must wait, that you must earn, that you must be found worthy, or work your way up, or struggle through enough trials until finally the breakthrough arrives. But I tell you now, by the truth of spiritual law, that none of this is necessary, that none of it is true, that all of it is man's illusion, and that divine source has never been in lack, has never delayed, has never rationed its substance, but waits, silently and completely, for the one who dares to speak in present tense faith. For the one who dares to say, "It is here," before the outer confirms it. For the one who no longer consults the senses for permission, but moves in the rhythm of invisible truth and speaks to what the eye cannot yet verify. For it is written, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." Do you understand what that means? It means there is no such thing as a delayed response in the realm of spirit. It means that your supply is faster than thought, swifter than the mind, more immediate than logic will ever permit. It means the moment your decree is spoken in full alignment with divine law, the thing has already begun moving toward you, or more precisely, it has already been standing at the door, waiting for your voice to open the latch. You do not build the house. It is already built in heaven. You do not fabricate the supply. It has been waiting for assignment. You do not beg the rain. You remove the umbrella. Your word does not invent the thing. It unveils it. Your decree does not force God's hand. It harmonizes with what God has already authored. And so, if you are waiting, if you are lacking, if you are still caught in the loop of wondering when, then the question is not, when will it come, but rather, when will I open my mouth as if it's already here? I have said it before, and I will say it again and again and again until your spirit burns with it. Money does not move for need. It does not move for stress. It does not move for good intentions or quiet suffering. Money moves for law. Money moves for vibration. Money moves for instruction. And instruction is not thought, it is voice, it is sound. It is the alignment of breath, word, and spiritual rhythm declaring boldly, "It is here." And the moment you dare to declare it as here, despite appearances, despite balance, despite fear, the moment you name the unseen as your reality, you release the floodgates. You don't ask water to come. You remove the dam. You don't hope for a signal. You press the key. Your supply has always been instant, and your word has always been the only thing standing between silence and sound, between lack and overflow, between theory and possession. Speak it, not because you feel it, not because the room agrees, not because the numbers say yes. Speak it because it is law. Speak it because it is already done in the invisible. Speak it because your silence has expired and your command has been due for far too long. The law does not need evidence. The law only needs voice. You must now do the unthinkable, the illogical, the spiritually lawful thing that most never dare to do, not because it is difficult, but because it is so simple, it offends the reasoning mind. You must now declare it present, not hoped for, not prayed over in a posture of lack, not deferred to someday when conditions align. You must declare it present now. You must say it with your whole spirit, with the vibrational certainty of one who no longer makes room for delay, as one who is not bargaining with God, but harmonizing with divine law. And you must do it not once in desperation, but repeatedly in dominion, not to prove something to the world, but to prove something to the soil of your own subconscious mind, which is always waiting for a voice of instruction and will obey whoever speaks most consistently. When you say, "I do not wait for money, money waits for my word," you sever yourself from the outdated timeline of toil and trigger the immediate unfolding of spiritual substance into form. When you say, "It arrives now," not from anxious wanting but from spiritual knowing, you align with the frequency that collapses the illusion of time and removes the veil between what is prepared in heaven and what is ready for reception on earth. You are not waiting. You are commanding. You are not hoping. You are claiming. You are not stuck. You are silent. And silence is the only curse left. You must decide, right now, whether your tongue will serve the past or establish the future, whether your voice will echo your fear or shape your fortune. And I say to you with boldness, with sacred fire, declare it present. The invisible is not far. It is here. It is not asleep. It is responsive. The moment your words match its frequency, the moment your decree stops reporting your condition and begins reporting divine completion, the material must obey. Because material is not your source. It is your servant. And it cannot resist spiritual command when that command is spoken with no compromise, no hesitation, and no apology. Stop saying, "I need it to come." Say, "It is here." Stop checking accounts. Start checking tone. Start watching your phrasing. Start noticing whether you're narrating delay or declaring dominion. Begin every sentence as if the vault is open. Walk through the room as if the check has cleared. Sit at your desk as if your name is already on the door. And speak to the invisible with such steady rhythm that it has no choice but to take shape. Here is your divine formula. Use it. Let it become breath. Let it become rhythm. Let it become the melody of your being. I do not wait for money. Money waits for my word. My decree moves divine supply. My tone carries the wealth of God. My sentence is wealth's instruction. And I speak as one whose word is law. Say it until it replaces every tired script. Say it until the room agrees. Say it until the atmosphere trembles. Say it until your bank account aligns. Say it until your nervous system calms. Say it until your house knows the sound of spiritual certainty. Because it is not the thing that moves first, it is your voice. And once your voice moves, once your word is settled, once your decree is set, the substance has no option but to materialize. Do not delay with your declarations. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for better circumstances. You are not a reporter of your bank statement. You are the author of your spiritual account. Declare the shift. Declare it now. And do not look back. Now we turn to the final thread that has quietly stitched itself into your spiritual garments, invisible but destructive, woven into the very lining of your identity. Delay language. These are the subtle phrases, the innocent-sounding sentences, the culturally accepted murmurs that flow from your mouth like water but act like glue. One day I'll be rich. It's not here yet. Maybe it's just not my time. If it's meant to be, it will come. These are not phrases of neutrality. These are not harmless expressions. These are unconscious agreements with stagnation. They are contracts with the timeline of the fallen world. They are veiled refusals to activate the law of now. And every time you speak one of these delay scripts, you extend the distance between your decree and its delivery, not because the substance isn't ready, but because your voice is holding the manifestation in spiritual quarantine, quarantined by caution, quarantined by fear of disappointment, quarantined by learned helplessness that has worn the mask of humility. You must cancel them now. You must cast out these delay demons by name, by breath, by tone, and by fire. You must say, I cancel every phrase that agreed with later. I revoke every sentence that allowed delay to take root in my subconscious garden. I evict every whisper that told me to wait my turn, to lower my expectations, to temper my declaration with worldly realism. I cleanse my tongue of every word that acted as a doorstop to divine speed. Yes, you must cleanse the mouth before you claim the mansion. You must purify the phrasing before you command the provision. And you must realize that every time you casually postpone your prosperity with a sentence that begins with someday or hopefully or when it finally happens, you are pushing away the very supply that is trying to land in your present moment. Instead, speak like this. This is my season of immediate response. Speak. What I speak shows up now. Speak. Divine wealth has already arrived, and I am the one who declares it seen. Speak. Delay is no longer my doctrine. I believe in the now. Speak. I am no longer mentally waiting for what is already spiritually available. Speak until the old language system breaks, crumbles, burns, and melts into the new architecture of divine immediacy. Visualize this. Your tongue dipped in golden oil, anointed for command, coated in light, slippery with speed, gliding into dimensions of supply that are unlocked only by those who no longer flirt with later, who no longer consult appearances, who no longer budget faith to please logic. See your tongue like a flaming rod, searing away every phrase that once seduced you into delay. Let it be done. Let it be over. Let it be cleansed. From this moment forward, you speak from the realm of now. You speak as one who governs time, not as one who negotiates with it. You speak not as one who wonders if it's their moment, but as one who declares that it is. Do not let your mouth be a museum of old belief. Do not let your tone carry the hesitation of the orphaned past. Let your voice be freshly anointed, tuned to the frequency of already done. Let every word you speak be pregnant with the vibration of immediacy, and let your sentence be law. Now that the poison of delay has been purged from your mouth and your memory, you are ready to speak not only to the presence of wealth, but to the motion of wealth. For money does not exist merely to be seen, stored, or saved. It exists to circulate, to move, to multiply by movement, to reflect the nature of spirit itself, which never stagnates, never hoards, never hesitates. Divine substance is not a pond, it is a river. And until you command it to move, it remains still not by limitation, but by your own silence. You must now rise into your role as the commander of current, as the voice that calls circulation into being. You must not speak about flow. You must speak to the flow. You must not wonder if wealth will arrive. You must direct it, like Moses lifted his rod to part the Red Sea, not asking the waters to kindly shift, but commanding their obedience with the vibration of faith backed by divine appointment. Speak now. Money, flow in rivers, not in drops, not in delays, not in trickles, not in crumbs, but in cascading, continuous, confident rivers of ease and multiplication. Say it again. Money, flow in rivers. And again. Money, flow in rivers. For the tongue is not just the organ of speech. It is the rudder of your wealth, the captain of your circulation, the baton of your financial orchestra. Do you not know that your accounts obey your instructions? That your clients, customers, and contracts are invisible servants waiting to be assigned a task? Do you not see that your bank balance is not awaiting your labor? It is awaiting your legislation? That every deposit begins with a decree, every increase begins with a voice that dares to vibrate higher than the fear, higher than the forecast, higher than the financial history that has tried to train your tongue to be polite when it should be prophetic? So I ask you, will you train your voice to carry current, or will you continue to echo the economy? Will you declare your divine flow, or merely describe your financial drought? Will you speak into motion, or will you mentally rehearse stillness and call it being realistic? This is the dividing line, beloved. This is the moment where your mouth becomes either the faucet or the filter, either the speaker of streams or the solicitor of sympathy. Speak. I move the market with my mouth. Yes, say it again. I move the market with my mouth. Not through manipulation, not through strategy alone, but through spiritual alignment. For when your speech matches divine substance, when your command is spoken with clean motive and consecrated boldness, money hears you, not just as a person, but as a principle, not just as a voice, but as a vortex of authority. You are the one the flow has been waiting for. You are the mouthpiece of spiritual liquidity. You are not the bucket begging for rain. You are the cloud releasing overflow. So speak circulation as command, not suggestion. Do not narrate your way into lack. Do not commentate on your constriction. Stand in the middle of the dam and break it with your word. Break it with your breath. Break it with your tone. Say it. I speak flow now. I speak movement now. I speak financial rivers now. And don't just say it once, say it daily, say it hourly, say it until your subconscious becomes fluent in liquidity, until your spirit no longer entertains the voice of lack, until your entire vibration becomes synonymous with movement, flow, and increase. This is the moment you become the stream. Now speak these words with a tongue that no longer trembles, with breath that no longer hesitates, with posture lifted and soul aware that the vaults of heaven are voice-activated and law-bound to respond, not to begging, not to budgeting, not to the emotional winds of doubt, but to bold and rhythmic decree spoken from one who knows that they are not trying to become rich. They are returning to the wealth of their original divine identity. These are not mere affirmations, they are spiritual instructions, financial legislation, vibrational coordinates that summon divine order into earthly matter. Speak not as one rehearsing, but as one releasing law. Say, I am funded by divine decree. Do not whisper this. Let it move through your vocal cords like thunder wrapped in velvet. Let it stir your cells. Let it disrupt every false agreement you ever made with lack. Say it again. I am funded by divine decree. And now this. My command is clear, and supply obeys. Speak it like the architect of your next miracle, like the commander of your next contract, like the priest of your own inner treasury. For clarity is not a luxury in the spiritual realm, it is currency. Confused speech produces confused results, but clear decree rearranges reality. Speak. My command is clear, and supply obeys. Let the memory of every former doubt be dissolved in the vibration of that sentence. Let it echo through every timeline where you once questioned if you were worthy, if it was allowed, if it was spiritual, if you had to struggle first. Let this sentence rewrite those timelines with sovereign sound. Now speak this. I am the voice of wealth alignment. Let it break the sound barrier between you and your provision. Let it go before you into every meeting, every inbox, every open door not yet seen. Let it fill the atmosphere around your business, your brand, your bank. You are not applying to be blessed, you are announcing your alignment. You are not wishing for overflow, you are releasing it by sound. Speak again. I am the voice of wealth alignment. And now, with the boldness of the lion and the rhythm of heaven's own declaration, close with this. The spiritual economy listens when I speak. Yes, let that be the final affirmation of this round. Let it enter your bones, your breath, your bloodstream. For this is not an economic cycle you are tapping into. It is a spiritual inheritance that responds to your voice and your voice alone. Not your resume, not your worry, not your weight, your word. Say it again. The spiritual economy listens when I speak. Now I turn to you, not to your doubts, not to your background, not to your fears, not to your bank balance or your budget spreadsheet or your anxious timeline. I turn to you, the spiritual listener, the one who has been holding the seed of dominion in their belly, but forgot that it blooms only through sound. This is the moment where theory ends and transaction begins, not a transaction of money, but of energy, commitment, and dominion. You have heard the law, you have felt the shift, you have tasted the vibration of wealth responding to your tone. But now comes the true invitation, the sacred threshold that separates those who watch and wait from those who rise and speak. And so I ask you, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, command to command, did your instruction go out, or did it stay trapped inside you, hidden in the folds of fear and hesitation? Did you simply hear these words and nod quietly, or did you rise into your own voice like a prophet to your own house, like a governor to your own land, like a king to your own kingdom? Because nothing changes until your mouth does. Nothing rearranges until your tone is heard in the halls of spiritual order. The universe is not moved by your mood. It is moved by your mouth. So I charge you, not softly, not sweetly, but divinely, comment below and let the world, the spirit, the system, and the unseen forces that obey law and not luck know that your silence is over. Speak in writing, speak aloud, speak to your own hand or wallet or account if you must, but speak and declare, I rule money by divine voice. That's not a slogan. That's not a hashtag. That is a holy legal statement. It is the record you enter into the atmosphere that cannot return void. And if you've been moved, stirred, or activated by this divine transmission, don't just vanish into silence again. Subscribe, not because I am asking, but because your spiritual atmosphere must be sustained. You don't visit vibration, you abide in it. You don't attend dominion, you become it. This is not entertainment, this is recreation. This is the architecture of wealth, built one spoken decree at a time, over days, weeks, and months, until your entire life becomes the visible fruit of invisible obedience. This is your sacred invitation, not to watch again, but to speak as one who commands again and again and again until the mountain moves, the check clears, the deal signs, and the floodgates of overflow are no longer theory, but form. Now, we arrive at the sacred seal, the final activation, the final vibration, the moment where every word that has come before becomes flesh by the decree of your own tongue. For without your voice, none of this means anything. Without your sound, this is merely theory, and I did not come to hand you theory. I came to awaken the law in your bones, to strike the match of dominion in your mouth, to remind you that you are not the echo of your circumstances, but the echo of God's voice, made flesh and crowned with spiritual authority. And you, beloved soul, are not here to beg wealth. You are not here to plead for a breakthrough. You are not here to negotiate with appearances. You are here to declare, to govern, to assign, to command, and to speak as one sent, appointed, and anointed by divine law itself. So I ask you now, slow your breath, steady your spirit, loosen your jaw, and feel the throne beneath your ribs rise up to meet your voice, because you are about to speak not as a personality, but as a principle, not as a person, but as a portal, not as a worker of the world, but as a word in the world, sent to rearrange the material by the authority of the invisible. And when you say this sentence, say it not like a hope, not like a chant, not like a wish, but like a command backed by heaven's full military force, like a royal edict sent forth with angels on assignment, like a spiritual memo that cannot be returned void. Speak with me now. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Again, slower, louder, and clearer, like every molecule in the atmosphere is listening for the vibration that makes them move. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. And again, with your shoulders rolled back, your head lifted high, and your energy anchored in dominion. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Now we layer it with variations that enforce spiritual specificity, and these you may speak morning and night, standing or seated, under breath or aloud, because tone is more important than volume and conviction more vital than noise. Say now, money, I now speak to you. Come now. Say, money, I now speak to you. Expand without resistance. Say, money, I now speak to you. Multiply under grace and in perfect ways. And now, beloved, we end where the highest vibration always ends, with a decree not from fear or franticness, but from spiritual calm, which is the posture of the one who has spoken and knows that what has been spoken must appear. Speak this: my word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. Again, my word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. One last time. My word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. Let that ring through your bones. Let that take root in your subconscious. Let that override every whisper of scarcity, every echo of delay, every leftover script of unworthiness. Let this be the moment your tongue becomes the key that opens every vault, the wand that parts every sea, the staff that turns stone into fountain. This is not just a close, this is your coronation. Speak the sentence daily, not as ritual, but as royalty. Write it, chant it, declare it, whisper it, shout it, live it. Because now you know, one sentence makes money respond immediately, not because the sentence is magic, but because the law behind the sentence is eternal, and the voice that dares to speak it becomes the cause of all increase. You are that voice. You are that cause. It is done.